So I'm not really sure how this happened, but my YouTube channel is slowly becoming a horror YouTube channel. And since this is my third video about something in the horror genre, I won't go into detail about my love for horror. If you are new around here though, all you need to know is the horror genre is nostalgic for me and I like analog horror. Coincidentally, today's video is about an analog horror series. The series in question is called CORNERFOK and is easily one of the most unique analog horror series on YouTube. CORNERFOK was created by Alex Kansas, who is the same guy who made Monument Mythos, which I've already made a video on. Oddly enough, CORNERFOK is one of the few videos made before Monument Mythos that is still up on his channel and is actually getting developed into a series. CORNERFOK is unique in many ways, one of which is its lore, but I'll talk about that in a bit. For now though, I want to compare CORNERFOK to Monument Mythos, since they are both made by Alex and are very unique to the analog horror genre. The biggest difference is Monument Mythos is going for a found footage vibe and takes place in an alternate universe, whereas CORNERFOK makes itself seem like it takes place in our world. What I think is interesting is presentation-wise, the first episode of CORNERFOK, titled CORNERFOK, feels like an alpha build for the first season of Monument Mythos. Another thing is, each episode of CORNERFOK is presented differently, which is why it's hard for me to define CORNERFOK's genre, as the first episode is kind of found footage-like, but the second episode is almost vlog-like in a sense, and the third episode, well, I'll get to that later, as that is the video that really got me interested in CORNERFOK. The second episode also draws a lot of influence in its presentation from Monument Mythos Season 2. Both Monument Mythos and CORNERFOK are both great at immersing you in their worlds, with Monument Mythos having the archivist note or a message from Maze in the descriptions of videos. With CORNERFOK, it's different. It's hard to describe the immersion without going into detail about the lore, which I will now segue into the lore part of this video, since the lore is the most interesting part of the series to me. And since there's only 3 episodes and the whole series is under 10 minutes long, I'll be going through each episode in detail individually, and at the end talk about some of my personal theories for CORNERFOK. CORNERFOK opens by telling us a man named Riley Tillon uploaded 3 videos about the CORNERFOK in 2011 and a 4th video in 2013, the latter of which caused concerns about Riley's health and an investigation to occur. The first video starts with Riley explaining how multiple other dimensions intersect with our own dimension. These intersections create what Riley describes as corners. Now, entities from a dimension are locked to that dimension, but the CORNERFOK can traverse through these corners into other dimensions, which is why they're considered a transdimensional species. Riley also claims that the corners present in his house aligns with the corners of dimension intersections. We then get footage of CORNERFOK jumping between corners. They jump really quickly and produce a bright blue flash of energy when they jump. The second upload gives us a much better look at the CORNERFOK, and their design isn't super terrifying, but it's definitely alien and unsettling to a degree. Anyway, we see that the CORNERFOK rest in the corners of Riley's house, and as he describes it, they exhibit micro movements similar to dreaming animals. We also get our first look at the corner world, which is made up of a bunch of different dimensional plane intersections. It is also shown that younger CORNERFOK have impressions on their skin, which Riley theorizes are from a nursery made of corners in the corner world. And this is where we get the classic analog horror trope of subliminal messages. If you pay attention, the word nursery changes to prison before leaving the screen, which hints that there's something much more sinister going on. The same thing happens when the video says the corners of the nursery are used to secure the infant, except this time the word secure changes to trapped. Riley believes that the corners in his house are being used as rest stops for the CORNERFOK. The third upload takes a very different tone. We get to see Riley Tillon. Granted, his face is blurred, but we still see him. During the video, Riley talks about how he started to dream about the corner world, and he started to draw pictures of it. Riley claims to have spent weeks not leaving his house, just staying inside and drawing the corner world. He then says that the CORNERFOK are taunting him, and that he plans to enter the corner world, and that he's not afraid of what will happen to him when he does. The final upload is short and sweet. All it is Riley jumping into a corner inside of his house, and we get our first glimpse at the corner world. After that video, local authorities went to Riley's house only to find him asleep in a corner of his house. It was also noted that his internal organs had been folded across various axes. And that's it for the first episode of CORNERFOLK. This episode is the longest, and it wouldn't be until over a year later that the second episode would be uploaded. The second episode of CORNERFOLK, titled Corner Baby, has a very different tone than CORNERFOLK. For starters, there's upbeat music playing, and it says, "We arrived on set at 12 p.m. September 21st, 2021. The perspective that this video is from Alex Kansas himself. Anyway, we're shown a montage of Alex and his crew building a set inside of an abandoned nursery. Everybody in the video has their faces blurred. Then get some shots of the outside of the nursery, and we see that a lot of the windows are broken. While they are painting the walls, a car pulls up to the nursery. We then cut to actual video of Alex and his crew, and just as one of them lands a bottle flip, the person holding the camera, Alex, heads outside to check the car.
I actually made it.
Do it again. Okay, I don't believe you. I don't believe you for a second. Huh? What? What is it?
No. You know what it is.
Why? What is it?
Do you want to come through here?
Why? Is there someone outside?
No, so I might be seeing things, but I'm not sure exactly what's going on in this car.
What? Where am I looking at?
Next to the rear view window. Rear view mirror.
Now, it's hard to tell what is in the car, but it looks as if there's a baby in the corner of the windshield and dashboard. Alex calls the police, and they say that this wasn't the first time they had to break glass to save children at the nursery. Then the music kicks back up, and we are shown a shot of the nursery getting demolished. And that's the end of Corner Baby. Now, so far for me, CORNERFOLK was not scaring me. I was definitely interested because of the lore, but I wasn't scared. Well, that all changed after the third episode. The third episode of CORNERFOLK is titled Corner Girl. This episode is the reason I'm making this video. Since the episode is only a minute long, I'm going to play it in full because describing it won't do it justice.
Now let's learn about the sides and corners of different shapes. A side or an edge is a line segment that joins two adjacent corners of a shape. A corner or vertex is the point where the two sides touch. Let's look at this triangle. It has three sides. 1, 2, 3. It also has three corners. 1, 2, 3.
This video turned CORNERFOLK on its head for me. Normally at the end of Alex's videos it says a short film by Alex Kansas, and the description has links to stuff and says a short film by Alex Kansas. Well, none of that is present here, which boosts the scary factor, especially since all the description does say is sincerely Alex's inspiration. So this is going to turn into my theory and speculation part of the video. To start, if Riley Tillin isn't real and is based off the person in Corner Girl, then that basically means the events of the first episode never happened in this universe. Well, at least they didn't happen the same way they were described in CORNERFOLK. Like, Alex found out about a person who claimed to have gone to the corner world and decided to make a short film about it. This also gets pretty meta because that means Monument Mythos as a web series exists inside of the CORNERFOLK universe. Anyway, the guy in Corner Girl, who I'll be calling Alex's inspiration from now on, appears to be using the corner world to move, quote, luggage, which to me just looks like human trafficking. Another thing is, Corner Girl's description is missing a lot of the normal stuff that Alex usually puts in there, which would mean that the video was uploaded by Alex's inspiration and not Alex himself. That begs the question of what happened to Alex. I think after Alex's inspiration saw CORNERFOLK, he tracked down Alex and possibly kidnapped him and trapped him in the corner world. Another theory I have is that the video is a message to Alex, because in Corner Girl it says, "You are luggage too," which could be referring to Alex. This theory I think is a bit more of a stretch because they specified at the start of the video that they are not Alex, Kansas, which it doesn't make too much sense to specify that if your message is to Alex himself. Now, as for what happened during Corner Baby, I think that the nursery in the real world had corners that aligned with the nursery in the corner world, except the cops say that they have had to save children there, and they don't mention anything about them being anything supernatural. My theory about this is that the corner world nursery is being used as a prison by a person, most likely Alex's inspiration, or a group of people that Alex's inspiration works for, as a prison for children and people. Because of this, I don't think the CORNERFOLK themselves are real, since the only video to feature the CORNERFOLK is the first episode, and the first episode isn't real. Instead, the CORNERFOLK is a name for the people who are trapped in the corner world. But yeah, that's all I got on CORNERFOLK for now. Obviously, the series isn't done, and I plan to update my theories once more episodes get released. I encourage you to put your own theories in the comments. I'm always interested in what you guys think. Anyway, that's all for today's video. If you made it to the end, you're a real one, and if you are new, consider subscribing. It is free, and it motivates me to make more videos more frequently. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.